Okay, this is time for a little bit of a different video here from your boy Daniel. What I will be doing in this video is talking with you guys about the loose concept for the book that I'm working on, and use that as kind of a tool, more or less, to talk in detail about what I'd really like to see from fantasy, because that's what I want to write. I really want to write something that actually fills something I've been wanting to see in this genre, because right now we are seeing some of the best fantasy books ever written. There's no denying that at all. But there's still some things I want to see happen, and I would love to put out my general idea, put out the reasoning behind it, and get some feedback from you guys, because I feel like, that can only be good. So what I when I set out for this, the first thing in my head was, I'd really love for the fantasy genre to take almost a back seat for the story, which, that's not highly original. That happens quite a bit. People have fantasy as more of a drop back, minimal fantasy, but I actually really kind of like minimal fantasy. You wouldn't know it from seeing, some of my favorite fantasy books, but like the Lies of Locke Lamora, I would say, is one of my favorites. And that one, the fantastical elements certainly take a backseat to the plot and the character that's going on, and I really enjoyed that. So I kind of wanted to use some inspiration there. And then, so I have this minimal fantasy idea, and then I wanted to bring in another genre to kind of add some flavor to the pot. And this might be kind of ambitious for a first-time real writer, and again, this is something I'm maybe cranking out like a couple paragraphs every other day or so it's not by any means happening quickly. But what I want to be doing is add in a lot of horror elements from the classic horror movies that really I'm in love with. And I say movies, not books, because I've read a few horror books, I've liked a few of them, but the ones that really inspire me and make a deep impact on how I view the horror genre have been movies like Alien, The Shining, really when suspense came to the forefront. That's when I enjoyed horror the most. And then the modern horror from Stephen King as well, with the psychological aspects, I really enjoy. And so, okay, that's been done before, a minimal fantasy horror book. That happens all the time. And what I really want to pull some, I don't want to say uniqueness, but some form of originality, something that hasn't been done to death, is in the actual setting. And the setting I wanted to go for here, without getting very in deep, I need to switch on over to a little bit of talk about history. So something in history that's always fascinated me. It's actually, I haven't really talked about it on my channel yet. No, it's not Alexander the Great or Napoleon or the conquerors. It's the explorers, the people who are willing to get on a boat or get on start walking over some mountains that have never been tread before. That's amazing to me, and it's something I want to capture. So the basic setting that I've wanted to set up is kind of along those lines, and it's what I've been working on. So far, you have 4 boats, obviously kind of taking some inspiration from American history here, coming to a new continent that's been discovered, and beginning to, of course, make landfall and go from there. And I'm not going to go into more details after that, but that's the general setting so far. There's an empire that has pretty much conquered all known lands, and a previous exploratory mission saw land, decided to head back, give word to the empire, and now this is the official landing party, and it's going to be 4 ships figuring out what's on this new continent. And I've really been enjoying it. I've been reading a lot of actual stories from explorers in history, trying to see what was it like, what was their biggest challenge. And what I've really found is amazing is the amount of superstition and reports of just things that can't be true that these people claim happened, and that kind of psychological, the things that happen to people when they're away from land, they're in the middle of the ocean for months, when they are just confined with these other people. There's a psychological aspect there that I'm sure results in this stuff, and I want to bring that into the story as well. And I'm excited to get going on that, because in terms of what really has always captivated me most, doing things to people, just introducing elements and pushing characters with little nudges in a direction, examining the result, is very exciting to me. So that's the setup, that's the concept going in. And obviously, you know, I'm influenced by my favorite author, Hemingway. I'm influenced by my favorite, fantasy series, Wheel of Time. My favorite horror author, Stephen King. Like, all these are, I'm going back and reading some of my favorite scenes and moments from their books, just seeing what worked. You know, what makes Stephen King have the ability to make people's skin crawl. And I'm sure someone in the comment section is going to be like, well, this premise has pretty much already been done. Yeah, man, it's really hard to find an entirely original premise. I have not read a book that's done this. It seems fiction about explorers is a little more rare. And I like the idea of having just a few people, you know, maybe the population of a very small medieval town, landing in this place and trying to figure out how to survive, how to explore, what to report back, and deal with what I'm going to throw at them. And that's kind of my overall concept. Of course, the mysteries of what is on this land, that belongs to me, and will be communicated to you all through the story if I ever do put it out. My patrons will certainly, if anyone does, get the first looks at characters and things beyond this. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and just throw in $1 over at Patreon, and I'll be starting to put up posts for you guys that go over what I will be having, and I'm excited. I'm excited to come up with more detailed characters. I have a few now, but I'm excited to make them and break them. And I would. I'd love for some of you, I know I have some artists in my audience that make incredible things, and if you guys could reach out to me on the Discord server, I'd love to commission a few of y'all, and I'd love you to be from the community. So if you're in the community and you have some artistic talent, I'd love to work with you guys for some concepts, and I'd be happy to compensate you the best I can, and it should be a lot of fun. And I'd love this to be kind of a community thing, driven forward from here, because I'm loving the creative process. The only thing that's keeping me from writing like a chapter a day is like it's hard to write. There's a lot of self-doubt, and getting past that's going to be my biggest hurdle, because frequently I'm writing a lot and then deleting it. I think I got all the way up to like chapter 5 at one point, and I ended up deleting it down to like basically the prologue that I had written, and then I think I got rid of that. Now I'm on like chapter 2 again, because figuring out, I think once I get past how am I going to introduce this, how am I going to start this story, it'll be quite a bit better. That's the biggest hurdle right now, is how do I establish the reader's footing in this world in a way where they get what's about to happen, the tone is established well, and it's funny, I can criticize and like analyze an author's ability and execution of something like this, but doing it myself is incredibly hard. And I think that's something a lot of people struggle to understand, that the difference between a reviewer and a critic, a reviewer is never claiming they can do it better. They're just recognizing that it wasn't done, it was done on this level. There's a difference between I can do it and criticizing someone else's ability. And some people get mad about that, then if you get mad at a reviewer for criticizing a movie that they couldn't do better, then you can never get mad at an athlete for not doing perfect when you probably can't run 5 miles. You know what I mean? Like that's the same kind of idea and mentality. So I've certainly I already knew that, but that lesson has been redoubled down, and I've enjoyed it. So far, it's great, and I'm really excited to get stuff actually start rolling out to you guys, and get some feedback in terms of actual like character concepts, plot points, possible like more detailed things. There's already stuff I have, but I don't want to put it out yet because I'm 90% sure I'm going to keep it, but not 100. And I'm not going to release anything to anyone unless I'm 100% sure that it'll be kept. On a final few notes here, I've had a few people worried that I'm going to put my politics into my book or something like that. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't mind it when authors do that at all, especially if it's well done and not ham-fisted. But I personally don't feel the need to have that be done. No, I'm not going to be only having like white males, but if you consider that, and if you consider it political to have diversity in who's on a ship, then I don't even know what to tell you there, but I've certainly gotten comments that insinuate that it's going to be a cool little diverse cast of characters that really reflect the people who are around me in real life. I certainly am building characters off of real experiences and the people who have impacted me the most, and I actually think that's a pretty great way for me to be approaching this. And I've it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be pulling from real world and pulling from other authors' influences, and I'm building the best I can here. And I'm hoping you guys are as excited as I am, because it'll be gosh, if it ever actually does be released, it'll probably just be like something I put on, Amazon, not actually publish it or whatever, just put it on wherever so you guys can grab it, and then you guys can tear it apart and tell me I'm terrible. Finally, review me back. But that's it. And I'm really happy I have this little orange notebook here full of so many notes. And that's where I'm going to be going from. Hope you guys like this little announcement and plan for the future. Patrons, get excited. I think within a month or so, you will have the first character or two posted on the Patreon page for notes and comments and feedback. And like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit that Patreon if you want to be a part of what I'm about to do, or just support the channel even if you don't care about the book. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I know I sure am. And that's it from me today. Peace.